So LinkedIn is the largest, I think, right now, business platform that exists. 90% of Fortune 500 companies are on LinkedIn. They give you an opportunity to create content as a creator. It is a space where you can look for employment. It's also a space where you can build up your skills. They have a LinkedIn learning platform. And I believe recently LinkedIn got sold or bought by another company. Hello, folks. Evolve Benton here, the Speaking for Profit coach. If you're listening right now, put hashtag live in the comments. If you're listening in the near and dear future, put hashtag replay. I am excited about today's training and conversation on how I got 8,000 followers on LinkedIn and have made over $200,000 in the last couple of years through the platform. LinkedIn is one of my favorite places to hang out and be. And in fact, we're going live on LinkedIn right now. So if you're on LinkedIn, go on and put the word LinkedIn into the comments so that we can know that you're there. I see some folks are in the space. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for using one of your most valuable resources with me, which is your time. And I really appreciate that. So we're going to get into it, right? We're going to get into it. Now, the one thing I want to start with that I always want to start with is wins, because celebrations are so important. And I find that celebrations and wins are the momentum that we need to get to abundance. And what I mean by that is oftentimes we're chasing opportunity, right? Whether that's a paid speaking opportunity, a paid contract, we're chasing money, right? In a way. And we're chasing, but then when we get it and we get a win and we do something really good that we've been working for, we do not take time to acknowledge and to celebrate those wins. And that's just as important as also doing the work. Right. So, one win that I want to acknowledge right now that I'm really excited about is that I just got back from Greece, which was amazing. If you have not been yet, I put it on your list to travel there. And what's really exciting about this win is I had an opportunity to take my wife to Greece. It was a surprise birthday trip. She had no idea that it was even happening, and was something that was on my bucket list of something that I wanted to do to really show appreciation towards her and the way that she shows up and commits to us, our relationship, and our family. So I want you to all know this, because what's really important is that we have a deeper why beyond just making money. I want you to have a deeper why beyond just making money. I want you to have that why that's to retire your parent, or to take your partner on a trip, or to be able to give to a foundation or to a charity that you really want to support. Whatever it may be, I want that for you. You got to have something deeper. So as we get into this conversation, I really want you to think to yourself, what's your why? Because I'm going to share with you some of the strategies and LinkedIn. And a lot of people ask me, is it LinkedIn? Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? It's whatever platform you choose to use. You can monetize any of these places. LinkedIn has been powerful for me and my clients because we do a lot of work with organizations. But for you who have clients that you're working with, maybe you're a coach or a consultant, Facebook might be that place for you. But the one thing that we're all doing is we're building relationships with people, and we have a mission and we have a purpose. Let's get into the talk today. And I see some people saying, get it. Thank you so much for that support and just showing love towards the win, y'all. Like, I am a giver of knowledge, but I'm a human, and I am a person who appreciates when people give me the energy that I give them. And I've had the opportunity to speak on virtual and in-person stages, and it's nothing better than the audience. The audience is what makes the moment. So I thank you all for being here. So the reason we're talking today about LinkedIn in particular is, one, I see a lot of coaches, a lot of consultants, a lot of speakers having some issues with LinkedIn. In fact, I was looking today. There was a coach who said they got some solicitation from LinkedIn Messenger that was awful, and they went on some rant about how they don't like LinkedIn because of that. And it was just so funny to me, because when you build something that is powerful and profitable, you're going to have plenty of people who love it, and you also going to have plenty of people that hate it. But the great thing is it's still being brought up. And that means that the marketing on LinkedIn is doing well. People are still talking about it. So LinkedIn is the largest, I think, right now, business platform that exists. 90% of Fortune 500 companies are on LinkedIn. They give you an opportunity to create content as a creator. It is a space where you can look for employment. It's also a space where you can build up your skills. They have a LinkedIn learning platform. And I believe recently LinkedIn got sold or bought by another company. So don't I don't know all the details on that, but I just know that the company is doing really well. And I think it's doing really well because we have so many social media platforms, but we don't have a lot of them that are connected to directly to business, right? A lot of these are really here for social networking. We do business on them, but they're not built for that. So when I first started on LinkedIn, I did not even think it was a place that I was going to even be able to build relationships with. I was like, this is the place that I put updates for my job. This is the place where I tell y'all about my resume, right? Like the new things that I'm doing. And if I need a new job, that's the time when I'm gonna be using LinkedIn. But what I found the last couple of years is that I've been able to build relationships with some really amazing people, get into some really great conversations, and get into the door with it, right? Like get into the door. And what I mean by that is like get the seat at tables at companies, to be a part of boards, to be a part of so much because of the platform. So the way that I've been able, let's talk about followers first, right? Yeah, you get the joke, right? Yeah, we didn't really use LinkedIn the right way. So let's talk about followers first, right? Because I have 800,000 followers. And let me go over to my LinkedIn because sometimes we got this world where, how do people say it? It's cap. The youngins say it's cap. So I have 8,162 followers on LinkedIn as of today, which is pretty amazing. So I'm gonna be honest with y'all. The main way that I've been able to build this kind of following is through consistency. I'm gonna give you three ways, right? But the main way has been through consistency. I consistently post on LinkedIn and I consistently connect with people. So, when you're out at a networking event and someone's like, hey, let's connect. And they're like, what's your Instagram? I'm like, what's your LinkedIn? Right. Everyone that I meet, I want to put them in LinkedIn because that is the place I'm hanging out and that's the place I'm doing business. And also, what I realize is it's a place that people aren't utilizing enough. So it allows me to add people on the platform that are out from the real world that I want to get to connect there. So if I'm at a networking event, I add people. I have a team who adds people every day that we think are interesting, that are doing amazing things that we want in our network. And we don't add people just because we want them to be clients. Because to be honest with y'all, it doesn't take that many clients for you to have a business, but it only takes you to have one bad client for you to have a business you don't like. So I'm not trying to add everybody to be clients. What I'm trying to add people is people who are like minded. I come from the diversity, equity, inclusion world. I worked in that world for like over a decade, mostly at universities and at fintech companies on my own as a consultant, some healthcare work. So for me, I'm like, who do I know in the DEI field and how can I add them on LinkedIn? Who's the top people, the top contributors, the top authors who are talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, who are talking about anti racism, who are talking about LGBT inclusion? I want to know those people, right? So we add those people and I add people every day. I want to know new people every day. I want new people to know me and about my business, and I want to know about them every day. I think about LinkedIn as though if I could go to a networking event Monday through Friday, this allows me to do that without leaving my home, right? This allows me to do that without leaving my home. I can meet and connect with people. And what's so cool and what I find, I know some of you have some interesting experiences on LinkedIn, so I won't go there. I don't get the salesy stuff as much. And if I do, I just go on and exit it out. But what I find is that when I connect with people on LinkedIn, whether they become a client or not, there's always a way we can support each other's brand, right? So there's some people I subscribe to their newsletter, some people subscribe to mine. I've had some people who've been amazing podcast guests. I met someone and they allowed me to do some work with them in Toronto, Canada. We did a contract together, right? So these are real life people who want to be in real life relationship with you. So two things that I would suggest is think about what you're going to do to be consistent on LinkedIn, right? Because sometimes we just look at follower amounts and we're like, oh, 800, 8,000 followers, 10,000 followers, and we get excited about it because we quantify followers with money when that's not a direct correlation. Followers should really be about you growing your impact and growing the understanding of your marketplace. So, how many people can you add on a weekly basis to get to know you and get to know them, right? To build relationship with people. That's what we are as business owners. We are building our reputation, our relationships all the time. And then consistency. How consistent can you be? Because when we start to look at a new platform, the one thing that we don't want to do is be consistently there, but not consistently in another place. And I see that happen to entrepreneurs, speakers, and consultants all the time. What you all will do is you'll get on this training, you'll be like, I'm all about LinkedIn today. And then you all on LinkedIn, but then you forget about what you said you were going to be doing on Facebook or on your email list. So we've got to find our pace when it comes to that. So I've been consistent and I connect with people every day. If I connect with people every day, there's a limit to how many people you can connect with on LinkedIn, but I don't worry about the limit, right? I connect with probably about 500 people a month. And if those people connect with me and we're in conversation, it's great. Sometimes it becomes a client relationship. Sometimes I find a coach, whatever it may be. So consistency. The other ways that I've been able to build my following on LinkedIn is through my professional journey. And it's so interesting, y'all. I was talking to someone during my last 5-day challenge, and she was going to join Speaking for Profit Academy, which is our core program that's 12 months. It's a commitment because our goal is to help folks make six figures and more from their speaking and consulting business. And that takes time, not just the money, but the mindset to do it consistently and build a business strategy, build a team so that you don't have to stress out. So I was talking to this person and she was like, Evolve, I see your profile and you got all these connections on LinkedIn. You got all these degrees. I need to go back to school. And I laughed at her because I wish my degrees are really the things that got me there. And the reason I say this is because I've had a powerful relationship with building a network before I got online, right? All of my jobs that I had previous to being a full time entrepreneur were through connecting and networking, right? So I got a job at UCLA, amazing institution, assistant director of their LGBT center in 2013. One of my homies who I was really cool with was working at Harvard University at the time, said, Evolve, I want you to apply. I know the director. I got that job. Wasn't the best job. I'll talk about that in another vlog. I'm writing a book called Bad Bosses just because of that job. But the point is, I got it through my personal network. From there, I wanted to move to the Bay Area, right? So I ended up looking for jobs there. I got a job at the University of California, San Francisco. At that job, it was okay. It was not the department I wanted to be in. It was in student academic affairs, and I wanted to do more of the like multicultural work. So when I got there, who did I see at a meeting? I seen a black woman there, and it turned out that that black woman ended up being my boss later on, had seen me at another event doing some poetry at another university, so she remembered me. So when she got the opportunity to hire someone, her assistant director, she came to me. She said, you should apply for the job. I applied for the job. I was assistant director at the Multicultural and LGBT Center at the University of California, San Francisco for several years. And then at some point, the students at that university love me. They love working with me. I love working with graduate students. If you are in student affairs and you love working with graduate students, go on to put that into the comments. So I was like, cool, with a lot of medical students. And a position came up at the medical school. And the medical students came to me and they said, Evolve, I want you to apply for this job. And I got a job at the medical school. And I was scared, y'all, because I was like, I got to work with some doctors. I don't know how this is going to work, but it was one of the best positions I ever had. And I had that job as an equity and inclusion program manager at one of the top medical schools in the country, the United States, for the last several years. And I just left that position. But do you see the correlation there? All of those jobs were because of people in my network saying, Evolve, I see that you're talented. I want you. Did I have to apply and go through interviews? Of course, it's a part of the bureaucracy of being on a campus. So when you're utilizing LinkedIn, I want you to think about it that way. You're showing up consistently because people are watching you. And when an opportunity comes up, you want them to be able to say, hey, Janda, this opportunity is for you. Hey, Tiana, this opportunity is for you. Hey, Asante Love, this opportunity is for you. But if people don't see you, they won't know what you're doing and how to support your work. Oftentimes, what we do is we post one time, we don't get enough attention or enough engagement, and then we give up. You have to be consistent, and consistent is not being consistently inconsistent, which means turning it on and turning it off, depending on your emotionality. I'm going to show up for this live training for y'all today, whether it was 3 people on the live or 300 people, because I'm consistent. Every week I'm going to be here and I'm going to show up and I'm going to give value because that's something that I've determined I'm going to do for myself, for my business, and for you all as my community, right? So remain consistent. When you're thinking about the followers on LinkedIn, What's so powerful about it is you never know who's watching. You just never know. And it's different than a lot of these other platforms. I've had people hit me up in my DM on LinkedIn that have never liked anything, that have never engaged with my content, but they've been watching me. Someone hit me up the other day about a job. I was like, girl, where you come from? Right? So you just never know. You just never know. So I see we have a question here. Are you connecting with people via your personal LinkedIn or your business page? I always connect with people via my personal page. I do have a business profile, but it's under Speaking for Profit. I don't post there as much. When I get another team member that can support, we might do some more of that. But for now, we're just using my personal profile on LinkedIn. So back to my notes. Now let's go on because I don't want to go on a tangent with you all. I want to make sure we're making the best use of the time. Now, for folks who are watching for the first time and you're like, you know what, Evolve is pretty cool. I like this training. We do trainings at least once a week. Next week, we're actually doing a 5-day challenge. So this 5-day challenge is going to be the opportunity for you to learn how to monetize your message and build out a 5-figure speaking strategy, right? So how do you get consistent 5-figure speaking gigs or consulting gigs in the next few months into 2024? Attention public speakers, coaches, and consultants. Ever dreamt of booking 5-figure speaking and consulting contracts? In just 5 days, I'm teaching my tried and tested system to elevate your speaking and consulting business. Forget the cold emails, bypass the salesy pitches. This challenge is about building genuine high value connections. And here's a promise I have for you. With a commitment of just 1 to 2 hours a day for 5 days, you're going to witness transformative results. On day 1, you'll learn how to craft a business strategy without cold emails or paying to speak. Day 2 is all about you redefining your profile to attract decision makers ready to invest in your expertise. By day 3, you'll have your very own 5-figure sales system to turn contacts into clients. By day 4, we will have you automating your funnel with proven templates and scripts. And day 5, I'm going to teach you how to master the art of discovery calls with a step-by-step checklist and exclusive 5-figure sales secrets. Whether you're just stepping onto the speaking scene or you're a seasoned pro, this challenge is tailor-made for you. I'm going to teach you the exact strategies that have helped me help my clients make over $2 million in the last 2 years. The journey to a thriving 5-figure speaking and consulting business begins with this challenge. So are you ready to redefine your limits, accelerate your growth, and bask in the limelight of your success? I want you to join the 5 days to 5-figure speaking challenge now. Let's rewrite your success story together. Simply head over to speakingforprofit.com. You're going to click that button that says 5 days to 5-figure speaking gigs so you can get started with the challenge. Can't wait to see you there. All right. Now back to the show. So we're going to go and work with each other for 5 days. It's $47 for you to attend that 5 days. It's not $47 a day. Some people have hit me up like it's $47 every day. No, it's just $47, right, for you to come to the training. And it'll be every day from 2 p.m. EST to about 3. And then we'll have a VIP session after that where we can talk to some VIPs, answer some particular questions. The VIP add-on is $50. So if you want to do VIP and regular admission, the price there, I believe, comes up to $97. If you're interested in attending, just go on and put the word 5 into the comments, and one of my team members will reach out to you. Put the word 5, and we'll reach out to you and get you a link to that. There also should be a link in the description of this video, so check that out as well. And I see Janda wants to be there. Okay, cool. But show Janda. Janda is a current member of Speaking for Profit, so shout out to you, Janda. Janda, if you want to come through, I can send you the link. Anyone who's an S4P member can come to that for the free, and Dora will be sure to send you that link as well so you can get signed up. Okay, so we talked about consistency, right? And we talked about building a network. We talked about bringing everybody from our networking events outside of LinkedIn to LinkedIn. Now let's talk a little bit about content, and then we're going to get into the money, right? How did I make 200,000? I'm going to wrap up with that. So content on LinkedIn that I find that does really well, right, are 2 pieces that I'm going to share with you because I like to give you all micro things to do. I don't want to give you something that's going to overwhelm you. So these are 2 pieces of content that you can be creating on there that's going to get more engagement. And the reason we want more engagement it gives us an opportunity to get in deeper conversation with people who are following us. So what I don't like is when people have a whole bunch of followers, but they're not using them. It's like you got 8,000, 10,000 followers, but they're not even talking to you. What does it matter? Right. So we have to work on our engagement so that the people who are following us can see us and get into more conversation with us, ultimately to do more business, make more money. Right. So one piece of content that has worked really well for me has been storytelling. Right. So and you can do that going live like I am today. So shouts out to everybody that's here from LinkedIn. Or you can do that by writing out stories. LinkedIn is a platform that loves to see the written work, right? They love language. So commit to telling a story once a week. And it doesn't have to be a story that's dramatic or traumatic. It could just be about your day in the life of your work. It could be some tips that you've learned. Some stories that I've been telling recently are books that I've been reading and things that I've learned from them. I recently read the book Fanatical Prospecting, and I shouted out the author of the book on LinkedIn, and he actually got back and said, "Thanks, Evolve." And that was cool. We're connected now. So you just never know. So if you're reading a book, if you're watching a really cool show that's connected, if there's an article that you read, if you had a day in the life of your work that was hard or that's something that you want to celebrate, these are great stories to share. People want to hear about you and your humanity, who you are as a human, who you are and how you're developing. Another story that I've been telling consistently is I'm studying sales a lot right now. So I'm going through a sales course. So I'm 50% through right now. My goal is to get it wrapped up by the end of this month. But every time I make it to a new part, right? 30% done, 20% done, 50% done, I'm taking people through the journey and telling them the story and the different things that I'm learning in that course. So create the content and the stories out of your life. What do you have going on right now? How are you preparing for the holidays? How are you preparing for 2024? What are some things that you're doing in your life, right? Story content thrives on LinkedIn. So tell stories. And if you need help digesting your stories into something that could be a little bit more acceptable on LinkedIn, you can always use ChatGPT and be like, "Hey, ChatGPT, can you rewrite this post for LinkedIn?" And it'll give you language that will be a little bit more acceptable on that platform and a little bit more professional, right? So I love to use that for that. The other thing that I love, y'all, and y'all will see it if you go connect with me on LinkedIn. And if you haven't yet and you're watching this and you're watching it on YouTube or on Facebook, go on over to LinkedIn and connect with me. You want to make sure that you're connected with me there. But I love to do polls on LinkedIn. It's one of my favorite things to do. And the reason I love to do polls is it gets the engagement going, right? So I'll do polls that are like I did a poll for this live training. Hey, I'm hosting this live training. You want to come? And then I'll say yes or no in the answers, and people can select. Or I'll do a poll and ask where, how people are feeling about something. Like I did a poll a few months ago because I'm noticing that there's a lot of fear and anxiety and doubt in the diversity, equity, inclusion field. So I did a poll and I said, how are people feeling about the field? Are you feeling scared? Are you feeling excited? Are you feeling like there's a lot of work to be done? And people could mark what they want on there, right? It gets engagement on my profile, but also it lets me see what people are thinking. And that's what I love about LinkedIn polls because it'll tell you who put what. It's not an anonymous poll. So it'll say Janda said this, right? It'll say Lydia said that. It gives you a list of names of how people have answered the question. So what does that do for you as a business owner? What does that do for you as a speaker and a consultant? You can then go over to LinkedIn and say, everybody who said yes to this poll, I'm going to ask them why they said yes. I'm going to get in conversation with them, right? And it makes it easier because you actually have something to talk about. The one thing I can't stand, y'all, and I don't know about y'all, is when someone wants to get in conversation with me and we ain't got nothing to talk about. Can we get on a call? Can I get you on a Zoom call? No, boo. What we talking about? Right. So for me, if I know I can help someone, I want to help them. So if I do a poll and I'm asking about how you're feeling in the DI field, and you said you're feeling stressed out, and I know someone who's hosting a meditation or a retreat that can help you, I'm going to give you that information. So use things with strategy and with integrity. That's what I want y'all to think about, right? Like strategy and integrity. Like we don't have to be here and be fake. Like when you're thinking about LinkedIn or even any type of platform, this is your personal brand that you're building. And if you're going in there being fake or not being yourself or going in just for you to just get money, like, then you're not really building relationships and you're not going to build a good reputation with people. Right. So and someone said this, and this is great right here. I love this. There's a lot of work to do on both sides. There is, right? There's work to do as a person who's giving out knowledge on LinkedIn and who's receiving, right? It's an ebb and a flow, right? And it doesn't have to be work. That's why I started off this talk talking to you all about consistency. Because you got to decide for yourself, how are you going to use this platform? How are you going to use this to build relationships and be consistent with people? And a lot of times we want a lot of followers, but we don't know what to do with them, y'all. If I gave you 100,000 followers today, what would you do with it? Just like if I gave you $100,000, if we don't know how to use it in the way that's going to allow us to grow, it doesn't really matter. So, hope you've been taking your notes on how I built the followers. Now, let's talk about the bag because I know that's why y'all here. Y'all like $200,000. That's a nice amount of money. I mean, I told y'all I worked at a medical school, right? So that's a cardiologist's salary, right? I know it because I worked with a couple of them, right? So it's a nice amount of money to make on a platform. And what I'll say is, one, the reason I've been able to make money through LinkedIn is through building relationships and reputation. And two, the way that I price myself. I can get to a $200,000 a lot quicker because I'm not speaking and consulting for lower than $3 to $5,000, right? I'm not doing that. I'm not speaking and consulting for lower than that. So it doesn't take me a lot of work to get to that level. So that's the first thing, is the way you're pricing yourself. And if you're not sure on how you want to price your business, like your business model, we do have a free training that I've done on how to price yourself. Just put the word price in the comments and I'll send it over to you. My team member will, because pricing is so important. If you're only charging a couple of $100, it's going to be really hard for you to get to 200,000, no matter how many people you meet on LinkedIn. So pricing has been one of the main things. The other ways, right, that I've been able to really make the money on LinkedIn is building out longer term contracts, right? So I love one-off paid speaking opportunities and paid consulting opportunities because it gives me an opportunity to kind of like test that organization out. Like, can I really help them? Do we vibe? Do the way that I teach and train and develop, does that really help them? Is that going to be a good fit? But after we do it one time, I don't wanna do it one time and just be like, "That's it," and just be a bunch of one-offs. What I'm trying to do is build relationships with companies where I can help them on a longer term basis, because I know the work that I do is gonna take more than one session. It's probably gonna take a focus group, an external review. It's gonna take some data collection, right? We're doing some really groundbreaking work when it comes to adding culture and inclusive value to companies and organizations. So it's not just a one-off. So what I've done is I've built relationships where I get a one-off opportunity and then I'm like, can we scale this? Can I help you on a deeper level? Can we work together for the next year? So when I go back to people and I have a follow-up conversation, and we have a whole follow-up framework that we work on in Speaking for Profit University, my conversation is, this went really well. What it looks like when we 10 times this. Why don't we talk about doing this for the next 6 months? And then I come up with a proposal on how we can work together, right? Not just one time, but over time. That's when we're able to talk about 20, 30, 40, $50,000 contracts, because there's an opportunity for us to not just do one piece of work, but to really build out some infrastructure. So I'm not doing this with everyone. Y'all notice that. It's not the one to everybody. It's the unique few that I work with in a one-off opportunity. It goes really well and I feel aligned. And then I ask them if we can work on a deeper and a longer contract. And that's how I'm able to build that type of relationship and make that type of money on the platform. Now, what I'll say is this. I think the other reason why is because LinkedIn is business to business. So yes, there's a group of people who don't want to be hit up in Messenger and are like, "Yo, this Messenger thing is too salesy. People are doing too much," but that's because you're being salesy. If you're actually building relationships with people and people raise their hand and they need help, they want to work with you. So I think it works on LinkedIn because people actually want to get in conversation and want to do business. That's what they're there for, either a job, to advance their company, to advance their knowledge. They're not just there hanging out. The other reason I think it works for me is because I get everyone on a call, y'all. I'm not just talking to people through Messenger and asking them to pay me. I'm getting on a call with most people because I know that in order for a group of people to bring me into their organization, they've got to know, like, and trust me, and I've got to know, like, and trust them. My personal brand is on the line and their business is on the line. So I know that people are very sensitive to this. So getting on a call, exploratory call, getting the information, being able to provide feedback. And the last thing, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I say no a lot. There's a lot of things that I've said no to. If it's lower than the price that I want to be paid, if it doesn't feel good or integrity with my own personal brand, I've said no. And that's one of the reasons why I'm no longer working in the diversity, equity, inclusion field as an employee. I may go back eventually as a consultant, but as an employee, because I want the opportunity to make the decision on who I work with and how I work with them. And sometimes when you're an employee at a campus or a corporate organization, you can't say no to a lot of this stuff. You got to just kind of do what people say. It's just a part of the work, right? So for me, I say no to a lot. I say a no so that I can get more aligned yeses. I want more aligned yeses. I want more hell yeses. I want more yeses that are, $5,000 and above. I wanna make it easeful for me, and that's the thing that my family and I are building on, and what I mean by my family, I mean my family here at Speaking for Profit University is easeful abundance. How do we get easeful abundance? And the only way we're able to do that is really through pricing ourselves, saying no to things that aren't at our value, and value is not just about price, right? So somebody might come to me and say, "Evolve, I got $200," but if I feel like the value is there and I have the time and energy to do it, I might do it because I know this person in this connection is gonna take it to the next level, or I wanna really help this person in this group. I've done things for free, so I'm not beyond that. I just want y'all to know that, but it's a time and a place and a season for everything. So if I'm trying to pay my bills and take care of my livelihood and my business, I'm not doing things for free. I'm doing things for free when my cup is overflowing, and I suggest the same for you. But I say no when it doesn't feel aligned and it doesn't feel aligned with my brand. That's why it's important that before you even start to build a following or do all of this, you have a clear understanding of what's your business plan? What problems are you solving? What organizations or industries are you working with? So if you have gaps in any of that where you're still trying to figure that out, the challenge that I'm hosting next week, 5 days to 5 figure speaking gigs, is for you. We're going to go through how to figure out your offer, how to figure out the problem you're solving, what industry, how to pitch people, how to get in a conversation, how to build out your LinkedIn profile. We're going to go into all of that for 5 days. Like I said, it's $47. If you want to be there, put the word five in the comments because what we do often is we put the cart before the horse. And I know y'all know what I mean. My dad used to always say that to me. So we want to get followers, we want to get money, and we don't even have our brand built out. We don't even know our mission. We don't even know our purpose. We don't really know what we're doing yet. And that's why you're hitting your head against a wall right now and you're frustrated because people don't trust you because they don't know you. And it's because you don't know yourself. It's not because like you're a horrible person, your business is horrible, your plan is horrible. No, don't put that on yourself. It's because you don't have the structure yet, right? I was there at one point. I just wanted a little bit of money, right? And then I was like, you know what? This got to be a business plan. I've got to really think about this. This affects my personal brand, and I'm working with people and organizations that I care about. I don't want to take advantage of them. I don't want to charge them 10, 15, $20,000 and not over deliver, right? This is serious business. So you've got to be serious about it. So I see some folks are putting five in. All right, we'll send you the link so you can get that for the 5 day challenge. So before I go, please put any questions that you may have in the comments. I'll be sure to answer those. And I see I got something from Lindsay. I was referring to the fear because I had to stand up and advocate for myself when I felt isolated in places of work. Yeah. Yeah. I totally resonate with that. Y'all, and I'm gonna do this. I'm actually gonna do a vlog about this probably in the next couple of weeks. And I haven't done it, y'all. Like I've been really hesitant to speak about this because I think there was a little bit of fear, a little bit of doubt, a little bit of anxiety. I quit my job in January, and one of the reasons I quit my job is I was stressed out. I actually had to go on medical leave before I left. And my job wasn't horrible. Like, my boss wasn't horrible. Thank God I finally found a good boss, and I'll talk about bad bosses eventually. But I felt very unaligned intuitively, spiritually, in my personal brand with some of the things that my organization wanted me to do. It started to really pull and tug, right? And when you have a relationship with an organization that's paying you and then that's paying your bills, you feel like you have to do it. So I took medical leave. I was having some physical ailments as well. And I took a step back and I said, you know what? I don't have to do this. I don't have to do business in this way. I don't have to do business that doesn't feel integrity with my spirit. And that's when I decided to leave my job. So I'll do a deeper training and talk on that probably in the next couple of months, but that totally resonates with me, Lindsay, right? That concept of feeling fear and having to call people out. And that's why when I'm doing diversity, equity, inclusion consulting, I charge so much. It's not a lot, y'all. There's consultants that charge even way more than that, right? We just think it's a lot because it seems like a lot of money, but 10, 15, $20,000 is not a lot. And the reason I charge so much is we're using a lot of our emotional well-being when we're doing this work. And we've got to be able to take care of ourselves. So sometimes when I'm doing this work, I have to take a week off, 2 weeks off to be able to like cleanse myself and take care of myself and take a deeper dive into my own self-care so that I'm able to over deliver for the next group in the next organization. Right? So that self-care is so important, and also you being overvalued and you being taken care of is so important as well. So thanks for sharing that, Lindsay. I can work with corporate marketing and also with other coaches' codes views on how to deliver content that works for both markets. That's a great question. You know what? I think, Michelle, what I'll say to that is I'd like to create content based off of what the organization needs. So I find that this is, and I'm not saying this is you, Michelle, but I'm just going to share this. I talk to a lot of clients who are often building presentations just in case for this particular moment. And I rather just build it when it comes. So what I would suggest is when you're working with the organization, ask them these two questions. The first question is, what have people done in the past that have worked? Because that's always good to know. What type of training and development do they like? Right? Because people will be like, well, they did a really good PowerPoint. We loved it. Oh, they had some data and we love that. Oh, they did some art and we love that. So that lets you know, like, what have people done in the past and what did you like? The other question I would ask them is if you're if we're talking about after the training, what are two takeaways you want to make sure that your audience walks away with? What are two things that you want your audience to walk away with? Because then that'll let you know about like what learning outcomes you need to come up with and making sure that that's a part of your presentation. Make sure that you utilize the event organizer, the assistant director, the director, the program manager of that organization as your thought expert. You want to ask them as many critical questions as possible so that you can create the most amazing product, right? I think I need to focus on corporate on LinkedIn and independent coaches on Facebook. I don't think it matters, to be honest with you. I don't think it matters. I think people are in both places. It just depends on your strategy. It just depends on your strategy. I talk to people on Facebook and we're having a conversation on LinkedIn as well. And they're the same people, right? What I will say is that LinkedIn does have more corporations because 90% of Fortune 500 companies are there. So I do agree that you're going to find more training and development opportunities on LinkedIn. But coaches and consultants, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. But great question, Michelle. All right, y'all. So as we wrap up, one thing I want to share with folks that are here, and if you're watching live, put the word live in the comments. If you're watching replay, put the word replay. We love that you're here. Go on and text the word 5 if you want access to our 5-day challenge. But if you want to make sure that when we have these amazing trainings, you are a part of it and you're invited and you're able to be in the space. Let me just find this link. There we go. I want you to text the word speak to 323-405-9492. Anytime we have a free training, we'll text you, let you know that we're going live, except for today. I have to admit I didn't send a text out to my group. I've been traveling, so that kind of lost me. But I will send them a text so they can watch the replay. But any other time, we send you a text, let you know that we're going live so that you can get some of this good knowledge and you can start to continue to monetize your message. So go on and text the word speak to 323-405-9492. You'll be on our list. And I think you get a free training when you do that as well. So that'll be really cool. So I hope this was helpful for y'all to really start to think about leading with integrity and the ways that you can grow your following, grow your impact, and grow your income. It's been an honor to spend your most valuable resource with you, which is your time. And I'm really thankful for you all. I look forward to seeing some of you or most of you at the 5-day challenge next week. And I appreciate all of your support. I hope you all have an amazing day. And don't forget, go on and connect with me on LinkedIn. All right, y'all. Peace.